Hello, I think I'm broadcasting now. Watching this screen over here to see if it shows up. See, it doesn't show that it's active yet. So there's this little delay before I know if I'm really streaming. And then when it does start, I don't get to see it at the beginning. So there it goes. And I hear through it, so it's working okay. And then pop out chat, make chat bigger because chat always deserves to be bigger. Control plus a couple times to make it zoomed in. There we go. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Saturday morning, July 2nd, 4th of July weekend in the U.S. Well, it's the same weekend all across the world, but it's our holiday weekend here. 11:01 a.m. And I'm pretty caught up in chat. I think the last one that I said hello to, let's see, it's not highlighted. I said hello to Ida, and Ran Israel showed up after my last, so hello to you. I've said hello already to Iowa Hank, Jonathan Fazani, B.H. Ringer, and Ida again, Jonathan. Jonathan says audiovisual okay, and Tony has checked DVR. And he doesn't say W. Here's the watch. Now, somebody asked me recently, what's the reason for doing the watch? Afterward, after giving that answer, I realized that was totally inadequate. And I'm not sure it's even needed anymore, but there was two reasons why I got started putting the watch on the tables. Because a couple people had my cell phone number, so they could text me if something was going wrong with the stream. But then I realized, well, that doesn't answer why I have to have my watch on the table, right? Well, the reason for that is if I have the watch on and a text message comes through my phone, the phone doesn't give me any audible ring. What happens is this watch vibrates. And I don't feel the vibration while doing a show because my mind's too engaged in this show. So if I put the watch down on the table, that forces the phone to ring. So there. I had to answer that because I'm a Doug. It's a Doug thing to give accurate, full answers. The truth, nothing but the truth, and the whole truth, something like that. It doesn't always work out, I know. And a lot of times I'll use the wrong word in a certain place, and that must be confusing to you guys. So here's some more hellos going back and forth. Ida, internet issues haven't started on my end. Oh, really? Hasn't started for Ida, and I can see my throat starting to be a problem again. Let's see, back here. Yeah, that's all showing up all right. Unmute. Hellos back and forth. Holiday weekend in Canada as well. Canada Day yesterday, that's right. Happy Canada Day to all your Canadians. Speedy C, hello to you. And Ida got reloaded, so maybe it was just a refresh. Alias to pay. I'm sure that I got the first name right, and I know he's not going to correct me because he just says any way that you want to say it is fine. Alias, I believe, is the correct pronunciation. First name. Last name, I think, is Tepe or Tepage. I'm not sure about that. If you'll give me the correct pronunciation, I'd like to know. And Wintermute, belated Happy Canada Day. And back way up here at the top, does it still show? Nope, Tony Wallow's $4.99 super chat before the show started is no longer visible there. Is it visible back here on this page? There's the $4.99. I'll go all the way up to the top of this. Yes, it does show there. That's the YouTube live studio. Now, let's see, I want to get, this is the stream, and then bring the chat up. So I got a couple people in Zoom. I'm going to bring them in. For those of you in Zoom, there's a little bit of delay when you're hearing me, so you're going to actually be in before you realize it. So please be prepared to mute your YouTube audio volume so we don't get the echo. Here I'm clicking on participants. Let's see, do I have that? Oh, yeah, my buttons are a little messed up. I can't do that. Okay, so I'm going to bring them in now. Admit all, and then I'm going to turn off the waiting room. Here they come, and I'm preparing to mute all in case anybody has their volume Still running. And then I've got to make an adjustment to my Zoom button so that we can actually see them. Right here should do that. We got Matthew Barnes. Hello, Matthew Barnes. Don't think I've seen you for a while. Thank you for coming in. And I'm going to fix my picture over picture here. And hello, Jim.
Okay, it's 2 weekends in a row. I'm here at the beginning.
Oh,
make peace with your dear fluffy lord, because here comes the apocalypse.
Oh boy, yeah. This is like huge. Now let's see. For me to fix, no, I guess I'm going to leave it like that. All right, and then I'll turn off the participants pane. That's going to make me adjust my picture again. And doing that wrong. Okay, got to single click on that and then drag it to where it belongs. And for those who don't know, the reason why I do this is because I'm actually broadcasting. My Zoom camera is my XSplit output, so they can actually see whatever I'm broadcasting in my frame of Zoom. Like if I punch over here to the chat, they are actually seeing what I'm displaying on the YouTube stream. Let's see, there's some more hellos in here. Okay, so Adiada says, my fist is tight. I think he means my pronunciation of his first name is right first, and he didn't correct the word tight. So I pronounced the last a couple different ways. Does he give me a correction on that? I don't know yet. Some hellos between each other. Good afternoon. Hope all's well. Finally joining the UK broadcast is Dennis. He's my Fortnite partner. We'll be playing Fortnite this afternoon at 4:15 Pacific time. I'll be broadcasting on my other YouTube channel, which is in the description of this video if you want to come and watch us play a game. And Zavi Manor, hello to you. Good to see you. And my typos are horrible from Aliaz. All right, back to Zoom. Matthew, do you have anything to bring to us today in terms of questions or comments or tech stuff you've been doing this week?
Unfortunately not. I'm really just here to hang out, as it were.
Okay. Welcome. And Jim, I suspect you're here also to hang out and just bring whatever you have to the table.
Yeah, you may regret it later, but yes.
Okay. I'm gonna take a wild guess to think that that's got something to do with my description of today's video that you think you might take exception to.
No, I'm not going to take exception to it. It's a simple thing of, okay, I can't wait to hear the story as to why we're going back.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, maybe you didn't read the description.
Yes, I read part of it.
Oh, okay.
It's just that I just don't quite follow.
Don't get it. Why? Okay. Well,
the ping pong.
Yeah. Okay. Well, when my clients' computers, when we start upgrading them to Windows 11, if something goes wrong, I want to be very confident about reverting it back to Windows 10. So I want to see that process, and I want to demonstrate it to the viewers. I don't need to go back to Windows 10, but I also want to bring Big Beast Build up to Windows 11 to try it out. So I'm going to revert Baby Beast to Windows 10 today. I will, perhaps later this week, upgrade Big Beast to Windows 11. I'm not going to try to live stream that. I'm not even going to try to record it, just because the setup that it would take to do that would be a nuisance. And I don't think it's important to do that. I want to see, does everything on Big Beast work okay? Because I have a few video production programs that I use that I don't have on Baby Beast. So I want to see, are they okay? And I'm probably going to take that back to Windows 10 and then bring Baby Beast back up to Windows 11. Those are very simple things to do. They don't take a lot of time, as long as they go well. And if they don't go well, I want to know that before I start upgrading my clients' computers to that. And I have
one question.
Okay, go ahead.
Are we doing image restore, or are we actually going through the actual process within Windows to roll it back?
The process within Windows. Now,
Okay.
in last week's description, I think I indicated my intent was to restore from image backup. And since then, I've decided that I need to see the process, see if the process of rolling back within Windows works well.
Okay.
I want to see that. The process of restoring an image, I have full confidence in because I've done that many times for various reasons, not for going from Windows 11 to Windows 10, but that's a nothing burger of a difference. I don't think that's any big deal. Rick Lakes, $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Rick. I appreciate that. I'm coming back up here to see what else to catch up in. Someone messes with me, they will see how tight my fist is. Jeff, to be a Tringer, he's in Oklahoma for his wife's memorial service. Again, condolences to Jeff. Looking through, scanning. Hellos back and forth. Philip Musto, hello to you. I think all the other names here I've said hello to already. And that's where I'm caught up to. So the second thing on today's topics is this computer. You remember the previous weeks I had a large flat screen HP all-in-one on the desk in this position. This is not that computer. This is the computer that computer was replacing. I think I said that right. So this is the client. Yeah, this is the client's old computer. It's concave. See, I think you can tell that. It's got an arc to it. It's a nice computer. I like it. It tilts like so. I think we got that in 2017. And there's a problem with it, and that is the power port is bad. Any slightest little pressure or wiggle of the power cable, and it just dies. And she's been putting up with that, and we replaced the AC adapter, and it was still doing the same thing. So that tells me it's the port inside the computer. I told my client that can probably repair that, should be able to repair that, get a part for it. And she said, no, let's just get a new one. So we just got a new computer for, what was it, $2,500, I think. And it's a nice computer. Anyway, I got it set up, and now I'll replace that port. And at the moment, I'm undecided what to do with this computer. I'm free to do as I please with it. So what I want to do is reproduce the symptom, demonstrate the symptom, and then during this live stream, I intend to go find the replacement part and probably order it just to show that process. But we'll start with reverting Baby Beast back to Windows 10. I see a comment coming up here. Yeah, chit chat. Nice to have rich clients. It is, yes. And I have intentionally attracted clients who can afford to, spend money on computers and spend money on me. The clients who are, pinching pennies, I tend to lose them one way or another.
Trust me, you're probably better off.
Oh, I think so entirely. I have intentionally behaved in that direction. And I've made it a point, particularly during the Tech Tales episodes, that I charge for everything that I do. And my invoices to them will show a start time and a stop time for everything I do, and a description of what I've done during that time. I never get arguments from my clients about it. And if my clients engage me in chit chat while I'm on the phone with them or at their office, they're getting charged for that. And they come to realize that, and they don't seem to mind it. Occasionally I'll have a client where I can tell that they mind it because they'll call me, they'll be speaking real fast, and once we get this situation answered, they'll say, okay, thank you, bye. Yeah, it's funny.
To get Doug along those lines.
Yeah.
Something I've noticed when you're doing like consumer level kind of repair stuff, mom and pop shop type
Yeah.
PC repair stuff, there's a constant. If I tell somebody it's going to cost them around $200, let's say, for the sake of argument, to fix their PC, they're like upset. And now the opposite of that is anytime somebody comes to me with a Mac, they're happy to get out of there for less than $400.
Yes. Yes.
I mean, that's the nature of the beast. They know that if they have to buy a new one.
Yeah. I had, on that subject, I have a video conference appointment with a client this afternoon because she wants to discuss with me purchasing a new Mac, an MacBook Air, I think she said. And she knows that Macs are not my expertise, and I've made that clear to her, and yet she still pays me over and over to do Mac work for her because she's not happy with what else, the other services that are available locally. So
What, she has no faith in the genius part?
hey, right.
Did I say that with enough sarcasm?
Yeah, you did. You did.
Okay.
I totally, that came through. Yeah. And that's another, now actually that client, interestingly, she is the wife of a attorney client of mine who's been a client of mine for, I think, more than 20 years. But in the beginning with him, he was kind of tight on money. And there were a couple times that he left me to go get service from somebody else who was going to cost less. And he repeatedly came back to me. I didn't ever get the details from him, but now he is totally okay. He's not trying to pinch pennies anymore. He's not complaining about bills anymore. He did back in the early days, but when a client has enough experiences with a situation where they call me in a panic because something seems horribly wrong, and I fix it in a 5-minute phone call, and they get a bill for 5 minutes of my time, they tend to gain some confidence that I'm not trying to, cheat them or overbill them. Now, on the other hand, sometimes I do work for them that we think is going to be no big deal, and it turns out to be a bigger deal, but they trust me. So I'm very happy with how that has all worked out. Coming back here to catch up. BH Ringer, do you shake a little booty to get those well-to-do clients? Nope, I don't. Let's see. Boy,
None of my clients would like that. Trust me.
Yeah. Boy, I did have one girl that was working for a client that became a bit of she followed me home one day and came to my door and barged into my house. I physically removed her from my house. So, really strange. Let's see. That's chit chat. So I'm going to skip over that. I'll just triple click there so I know where I left off. And Dennis is watching live now. Okay, so let's go to Baby Beast. Punch there. That gets a zoom into place. And I have not refreshed myself where to go here. I'm going to just press the Windows key, and I think it's like recovery options, something like that. And here's recovery control panel. Open system restore, configure system restore, text message. Text message says, "Hey Sophie, I'm Adeline." Yeah, it sounds like another one of those scam texts like I got when I was up at the cabin. For those of you who might remember that. Anyway, configure system restore, open system restore, create a recovery drive. No, that's not it. Not it at all. Okay. Let's see, revert. How about if I search for the word review? Reset this PC. Reset this PC. Go back. There it is right there. Go back. If this version isn't working, try going back to Windows 10. That just seems so iffy to me. Try going back to Windows 10. That's Jim. You're with me on the same page there, right? Sounds a little iffy.
Yeah, yes, I am. Yes, I am, Doug. Here we go. I'm going to start. For any of you who are Jewish, just don't pay attention. Doug, when you start this process, we're going to go.
Yeah, there you go. All right. So go back. Now, just to refresh people's memory, or people who might not be aware, I made an image backup, a Windows 10 image backup of this computer before I upgraded to Windows 11. I have not made an image backup of Windows 11. Don't feel a need to. So here we go. Go back. Now, let's see. I'm gonna get this chat comment in before I go on to that. Let's see, there's chit chat go on there. Guys, tell us where you're watching. Aliaz says, let's go. He wants to see this. Or maybe he's saying, Doug, stop the chit chat and get on with it. Go back. Now, that was another instance of that same thing where the mouse did not change to a hand. It didn't look, the word go back did not look clickable. Why are you going back? My apps or devices don't work on Windows 11. Windows 10 seemed easier to use. Windows 10 seems faster. Windows 10 seems more reliable, or for another reason. If I choose one of these, I can probably get away without typing more. If I click another reason, I could type in more, but it's not going to force me to because the next button became available. So I'm going to say for another reason. Before you go back, try installing the latest updates. This might fix the problems you're having. No thanks. What you need to know. This might take a while and you won't be able to use your PC until it's done. Leave your PC plugged in and turned on. After going back, you'll have to reinstall some apps and programs. Now, this isn't saying you might have to. It's saying you will have to reinstall some apps and programs. That's a little disconcerting. Is that the right word? That's a little concerning. You'll lose any changes made to settings after the upgrade to Windows 11. All right. Are your files backed up? Yes, my files are backed up through OneDrive and shared to my other computers. So I'm not concerned about data files at all. This shouldn't affect them, but it's best to be prepared. So that's interesting. I'm going to take a look and see if anybody's got chat comments there. Sounds like if Microsoft is not sure, you can go back to Windows 10. Yeah. Well, they're not sure that it's going to fix my problems. I think it's more to the point. Nah, you can talk. Type in cause. I hate Windows 11. Type in cause. No, you can talk cause you. I think it did some kind of a type correction. I'm not even sure what he meant. That's chit chat. They assume you're having what?
The word cause, C-A-U.
Yeah, I think it was C-A-U-S-E. No, you can talk cause you thumbs up because you like, I guess. I think we get your sentiment. Don't worry about it, Alias. Ida, they assume you're having problems. Wonder why.
Well, this whole process, kind of reminds me of Dirty Harry. You feel lucky, punk?
Yes, yes. Yeah, they give us a few reasons to give them, and they when they said try doing such and such, that would be they're assuming my reason is because I'm having problems with it or don't like it. Wintermute from Raleigh, Jonathan from Northeast Lincolnshire in the UK, Slovenia for Aliaz, BH Ringer, Nova Scotia. All right, here we go. Click the next button already. Next, and it's now it doesn't. The mouse doesn't change to a finger, but the next button does light up when I flip the mouse over it, as opposed to that go back button that's hiding under there. Yeah. Now, don't get locked out. If you use a password to sign into Windows 10, make sure you know it. You won't be able to sign in without it. Yes, I do know it. Thanks for trying Windows 11. If you end up missing improved search, security, and startup, come back to Windows 11 anytime. Okay, go back to Windows 10. I didn't count all the confirmations I had to make there to get to that point. Now, at some point, the screen's going to be black. Let's see, what do I have the tripods? Yeah, the tripod is showing that screen. So if I want to switch over to that, I could. All right. Yeah, all the odds, don't worry about the typos. You're doing fine. We're kind of having a little fun with you, I guess, and I hope that's not at your expense. I'm very happy to have you here. And he also said his English is a second language. All right, what is next on the agenda? There's no signal now. Oh, but it does have the Republic of Gamers is on screen, even though it's not coming over my capture device. So there's restoring your previous version of Windows. I guess the keyboard camera would be better. Since that might go on for a while, let's try that one. Yeah, you can even see it. Yeah, there we go. I'm going to leave that on that screen for pointing to that monitor. Mike McRae in chat, hello from Aberdeen, Scotland. And JW says, hello from the UK. I'm 6 months in Windows 11 on an unsupported machine using a TPM bypass. I've had no problems at all so far. Dennis, DDT 2005. He's in Panama. Mike Perodin, hello to all. By the way, my dad and my grandparents were in Panama for some time. My grandfather was employed by the Panama Canal while my dad was in high school. Let's see. Oh, Iowa Hank to Aliage. Most Americans only speak English, so you are way ahead of them in that respect.
Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I was kind of thinking, I was almost going to say English is my second language too, but I can't quite finish that joke.
I have a t-shirt that says I speak 3 languages.
Yeah?
Sarcasm, profanity, and English.
Okay. Let's get back to there. Oh, there it is, going on to something else, blank screen. Aliage says, so Baby Beast will be on Windows 10 and Big Beast will be on Windows 11. Yeah, that'll probably happen later this week. But then, so next Saturday, Big Beast build will probably be Windows 11 for the live stream. So if there's going to be a problem with live streaming, I'm probably going to discover that during a Windows Daily episode. Your first peek at Windows 11 on Big Beast would be during a Windows Daily episode, which is 9 a.m. Monday through Fridays. I do that live for about 15 minutes on weekdays. Now, oops, oh, that one's so quick I didn't have a chance to read it. There we have the...
I'm impressed it undid itself that quickly.
Yeah, I didn't think it would take very long because it's not all the files that it needs, I would think, are already present. And then I use a pin code, and there it is. Windows 10 is back. We're back, baby. And it went straight into Task Manager. I think because I had Task Manager open under Windows 11. So really did it. Let's see, I also had I think I had my Log Me and Rescue open, but it did not automatically reopen. And then let's check WinVer 21H2. That's what it was on. Windows 10 Pro. So that was pretty easy. Back in back in the early days of the release of Windows 11, I had a couple of clients' computers that upgraded to Windows 11 without us intending for that to happen. I suspect the users, there was a prompt on their screens that they clicked on to allow it, that they didn't realize what it meant. But we don't have confirmation of that, and I connected remotely to their computers and reverted them back to Windows 10, and those all went fine. Now, we had that warning saying, I will have to reinstall programs. I don't think that's true. I think is that a scare tactic that they were using?
Gee, Microsoft using a scare tactic.
To prevent you from doing what they don't want you to do.
Gee, what a shocker that would be. Inconceivable.
Could it be? Could it be? More chit chat going on, and locations people are from. Arnold Albert from San Lucia. I don't think you're supposed to pronounce the T. I think it's San Lucia. San Lucia. San Lucia. I don't think it's Saint Lucia. Not certain about that. I speak Sloven. Is it Sloveni? Sloven. I think it's Sloven. English and German. I don't think the E is pronounced. Not sure. B.H. Ringer's second languages are Esperanto and Klingon. Is anyone going to say their second language is spouse? Ida, I'm from Puerto Rico. Even though we are U.S. territory and American citizens, our main language is Spanish.
In Puerto Rico, yeah, I believe that.
Yeah, that makes sense. We lost Matthew. Well, he turned off his camera and he's muted. I'm guessing he's still there, but he might be watching.
I'm still here, Doug.
Oh, he's still here.
Someone
All right.
came into the room, so I had to turn the camera off. But
That's fine. That's fine. And then here's a foreign language going on. Let's see. So B.H. Ringer's Esperanto. Do we think that might be Klingon?
I would bet that's Klingon.
That looks like Klingon to me. And there are fans of Star Trek that oh, there you go. Well, I'm a fan of Star Trek, but I never got deep enough. I never went to a Trekkie conference or Trekker conference.
Oh, I've been on a cruise ship that's Star Trek oriented.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah.
There's a difference.
It was interesting to see some of these people in costumes. Some of them pulled it off rather well. Others, not so good.
Yeah. There's a difference between the word Trekker and Trekkie. The serious fans are, I'm not sure which. And I'm guessing you don't know the difference, Jim.
No. I know a lot of the series stuff. I've played around with it, but I've never been that ridiculously into it now.
My impression is they've got the Klingon language defined well enough that people who are really into it can actually converse.
Yeah, that started, I believe, with the second series, The Next Generation. That started up.
Yeah. Oh, when I was a kid, I watched the original series over and over and over. I never have been able to get into Star Wars, though. I've tried and just couldn't. I had a poster on the wall, not as a kid, as an adult. It said, something like everything I learned in life, everything important learned in life, I learned from Star Trek. It seriously, it dealt with a lot of topics that were life topics. And
it still does.
It does. And let's see, what else we got here? Zavi Manor. Let's see, I don't know if I was displaying the Klingon language. I think I did. From B.H. Ringer. Install new installation Windows 11 Pro without a product key on a computer that was activated with Windows 10 before, and it is active when checking activation state. Yeah, I would totally expect that because I would suspect that he did a clean install, wiped whatever was on the hard drive, but because of the way digital licenses work, Microsoft knows that computer was activated with the Windows 10 Pro key. Now, if he had installed Windows 11 Home on a computer that had been digitally activated as Windows 10 Pro, that would not have worked.
No.
And I know Zavi knows that. I'm saying that for the rest of the audience. Peter Nelson, I speak English and German. I'm from Texas. All right, awesome. Oh, my brother Stan, who's been on the channel, and he has a channel, Meandering Man at 70. He published a video of a tour that he took this last week of Lawrence Welk's birth home. And several surprising things there. Lawrence Welk was born in that home, but up to the age of 21, he did not know how to speak English. He was a German speaker. His family was German ancestry, and his parents, with the first 3 children, migrated to the U.S. and homesteaded and built very rustic accommodations. They raised their kids all with the German language. I don't think the parents ever did learn anything else, and it was really a fascinating story. The whole family was musical. The oldest brother was the most musical, but the most talented, but he didn't want to play music. He became a farmer, and the family's still farming the same property. Dennis, San Lucia is correct in English. I had a pen pal from there years ago. It's Arnold Albert says it's Saint Lucia. I think he's saying there the right pronunciation is Saint Lucia. That could be. Trekkie. Just had Trek Fest last weekend in Riverside. A Riverside IA? LA. No? What is that?
No, I think it's IA. I think it's Iowa.
Iowa.
Yeah, it's Iowa.
Okay.
It says future
All right.
home of James T. Kirk. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Is he actually going to be moving there?
No. The
future
character
home?
was born in Iowa.
Oh, okay. Oh, future home, of course, because the whole series is in the future. Yeah, okay. That takes Doug a minute to get it. Mike McCrae, what do you think of the latest Star Trek? Actually, I haven't watched it. Is that?
Well, there's a couple of them that have been around. Discovery was the first. The Picard series was next, and then Strange New Worlds. I'm assuming, you know what that word means, that he's talking about Strange New Worlds.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I haven't caught it. I really haven't been following it for some time. The last series that I was really faithful to and not missing any new episode would have been Voyager. The rest of the movies and the other series after that's been kind of hit and miss for me. Aliaj is a Star Wars fan. Star Trek is the first woman of color in a role of power, not common for the point of time. Yeah. Dr. Rob Allen, good to see you too. I see you're returning to Windows 10. Mwahaha. Mwahaha. I'm not even pronouncing that right. Mwahaha. Something like that.
That works.
Getting closer. Takes me a while to practice a impersonation. Awana and Atua. Yeah, I have really fond memories of Lawrence Welk because my parents watched him very faithfully, and of course with the one TV back in the days when I was a kid, it was kind of a family event. So I have warm fuzzies over Lawrence Welk. I was born in Iowa, and also as a young kid, I was kind of what? Let's just say very appreciative of the girls on the show. All right.
You talk about your politically correct language. Woof.
Yeah. I was being careful with that. All right, so let's go on to the next task. Iowa City. Dennis is saying Iowa City for what? For Kirk? All right. Oh, let's get back to this computer is next. I have the AC adapter here is plugged into the computer. The power button for this is on the bottom, so I'm just going to start it up, and I'm going to bring that to the tripod camera so that we're not getting a straight-on view of that screen, because I'm not sure if there's any, family photos or something on the wallpaper. And I'm looking for some kind of evidence that it's coming on. I don't even see a power light on the power brick. Have I plugged it in on the back? Yeah, it's plugged into the power strip. Got no light on the power brick. Well, try one of my own AC power cords. Oh, I think I did see a light. Is it just that faint? Oh yeah, there it went off. Okay, the light on the power brick is very, very faint. And I plug it in. After having it unplugged for a while, it went off and it's flickering. Now it's powering up. Wow, that light on the power brick is really flaky.
Is that the original or is that the new one?
This would be the new one. I guess, you know what, now that you asked that, I don't know that I did not confirm that. Now it's flickering again. And I got something on screen. And then it went off again. And it's flickering again on the power brick. Screen's coming on, or whatever that is right there. And then the light on the power brick went dark again, or fading. I'm waiting without touching anything, without moving anything, to see if that starts flickering again and coming back on.
There's also the possibility. There's also the possibility that you hit the power switch on the unit, and the light will come back on the brick.
Yeah, and I'm also wondering if the light on the power brick is only going to come on when it senses a draw from the computer. And is this light being flaky actually because of the power port on the computer? So if I wiggle the power cable where it connects to the computer, am I going to see some change? I'm going to try that now. You know what? I'm actually, well, no, I don't want to change camera view. Just very gently manipulating the plug, watching the light on the power brick. I'm not seeing any change. Nada. I'm gonna try the power button on the computer. The light on the power brick is still a very faint glow. It's not off, and it's not as bright as it has been. The computer was on when I went to my client's home office, and actually I connected remotely to it and did a Fabs Auto backup in order to transfer data to the new computer. That all worked fine. All right, unplugging the power brick from the AC cable, waiting for the light to go completely dark. There it's dark. Clearly there's no light on right now. Plug in the power brick again. And I'm expecting to see something come on the monitor. Yeah, the light went bright and then dim. in less than a second. Now, when I tested the power connector originally to diagnose that it was either the power cable or the jack, what I was able to do was just manipulate the cable where it connects to the computer very slowly, very carefully, and I could actually hear an electrical snap. And the computer would respond to that, meaning if it was on, I would hear that snap and it would go off. And then while the computer was off, I could wiggle that cable and hear the electrical snap. And so we bought a replacement AC adapter and still had the same problem. And that was my conclusion. And okay, it's the jack. Something wrong with it internally. Oh, there I just did wiggle the cable and I got a more solid light. There I've got a more solid light. And then it went dark again. So what's going on now is it's just much worse than it was. I'm turning the power cable to a different direction. It's an L-shaped connector to see if I can get to a location that gives me more stable light. There's flickering, it's solid, it's solid, it's solid, 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 off. And at the same time that I was seeing solid, I had a rectangle on screen. I think you're seeing it, weren't you? Were you able to see the rectangle on the screen? Not now.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
not at the moment.
I'll tell you when it's there. You know what? I can change to a different camera view because obviously the background is not visible. What about that? Yeah, that gives you the best view of the screen. And I'm pulling the cable all the way out and see if the light goes dark. And just to show you the shape. Well, the shape of the connector is on the thumbnail for this video. I was holding it up. It's an L-shaped connector. The light is still on the AC brick, even though it's not connected to the computer. So that light is lit even when disconnected from the computer. I'm starting to question whether my client replaced the brick because I ordered the new power brick, left it on my client's desk at her office for her to take home and plug it in. She subsequently reported to me that it was still not, the problem was still present. And I took that to assume that she actually replaced it.
There's that word assume again.
Yeah, that's right. When I first learned the meaning of that word, how to break it down, it was in a computer class that I was attending or auditing when I first started working for a company that we did computer training classes for business people where they would come in for a day or two. We teach them some subject. So I was watching one of the other instructors and he gave a description during the class of how to break down that word into its 3 components. I'm not able to get this power brick to light up solid in any consistent manner. Which means I'm not totally convinced that this is the replacement unit. There, well, it came up on screen again briefly.
Yep.
You did see it?
Yeah, I saw it.
I don't think I explained that I plugged it back into the computer. All right, unplug, plug it in. Unplug, in, out, in. Out in. Thinking maybe if I did it a few times over, I might get something consistent, but no. I'm thinking, oh, there's flickering. It's on. It's on. You see it on screen now. And it's off. The computer was on, stable for my client and functioning over some length of time. If you guys already know, I had her new computer here for a fair amount of time. And once I had it ready for her, she was on a vacation, so that kept it here for longer. But if she was having this kind of trouble with it, she would have been on my back about getting the new computer to her, and she hasn't been. So I'm thinking that just transporting it to my house has caused extra stress on it somehow. Go see if people in chat are adding comments about this. Dr. Rob Allen is Jasper, Texas. Mike McCrae, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, very PC, politically correct. I don't even think I knew that name, Strange New Worlds. That's the opening phrase, Strange New Worlds. Yeah. I don't think that's a series title.
Yes, it is.
It is? Oh,
yes,
there's
it
a
is.
Star Trek Strange New Worlds is the identity of a series or a movie?
No, the Star Trek series.
Oh, all right. Yeah, I'm embarrassingly out of date with it. Alias, the old HP product, horrible product. And I don't buy into that, but I'll laugh with it. Rob Allen, check for cord voltage, then check brick for output. Yeah.
The problem is the brick may show voltage when it's unloaded, and as soon as you put a load on it, it may die. So that's without knowing whether or not which brick you're actually using, you're kind of stuck.
Yeah, I'm really feeling like that is still going to be kind of iffy, and I'd really like to have the other power brick. Sounds like a bad power brick, capacitors blown in brick, power surge could do it. This channel and Carrie Olsman best, in my opinion. Thank you, Mike McCrae. That's high compliment. Thank you. How many pin is the power cord? 3 pin. And the connector to go into the computer is a typical barrel connector, I guess I'll say.
Yeah, it's probably the closest approximation.
Yeah. Mike, same mods here. Yeah, the audience here, a lot of them are also Carrie Holzman's, of course. A lot of them came from Carrie Holzman's channel in response to his interaction and our interaction with each other. Sounds like a bad power supply there. This is where mirrors come in handy. Best episode, Lawrence Welk Show. As accordion player Myron Florin did a cover of AC/DC's Thunderstruck. Wow. If it's HP, then it could be a huge problem. Oh, that's another definition of HP. All right. Thank you. Something original. Never comment on U.S. power supply. Never comment on us power supply. U.S.
I don't follow that one either.
Yeah, don't. This is why boys and girls don't buy HP or Apple crap. LOL. Good evening. Electrical snap capacitor discharge.
I will take exception to somebody calling, as much as I don't like them, Apple being crap. It's not crap. It's ridiculously expensive.
Yeah, and
I've had enough Macs open. The stuff is well engineered. Don't get me wrong, The problem is it's too expensive and it's a pain in the ass to fix.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that the thing is crap. It means it's a pain in the ass to fix.
Yeah. And also the you know what? Somebody asked me, I think it was on Ken Stout live interview show, about why I had an iMac. I had an iMac sitting on this part of the desk for a long time. It's upstairs now, and I bought it in 2012. And I answered the question by saying that I got it for doing YouTube videos. That wasn't quite accurate. I got it for my airplane videos. I had 5 GoPro cameras mounted on my airplane, and the main objective there is, in the club that I was involved in, Experimental Aircraft Association, we gave free airplane flights to kids. So I would make videos of these flights, and I would use the iMac with a video editing software that was only available for Apple. And I'm trying to remember the name of that. Somebody will probably come up with it in chat. And so I did that for several years. And I did publish those on my personal YouTube channel. I've since removed them because I'm not involved in the club anymore. But anyway, that's why I had bought that computer. And as with all video editing software that I've had, it had crashes with video editing software. I had that on the PCs as well, both my old streaming computer and Big Beast build. Rob Allen, bad.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, DaVinci Resolve has thrown up on itself on me a couple of times.
Yeah, I just think it's a characteristic of the complexity of video editing software, and the programming engineers that design that. They're trying to make it usable for its functions, not so much fault tolerant. All right, Gary just muted himself. Thank you, Gary. Glad solder joined a power plug on system board. Now, I got to say about that snapping, it is very, very apparent that it's happening between the plug and the socket that I'm plugging into. It just hears and feels like it's right there. That could happen from pressure or pull on the power cord. Where's your voltmeter? I think it's in that box up there. We may or may not go for that. Test the plug-in for power. I think the reason why I'm a little reluctant to go that road is because it was just working at my client's home, and I just picked up this computer. Was it yesterday? Might have been Thursday. I think it was Thursday. Barrel plug should be banned. Oh, I like it so much better when you just have a regular AC power plug that plugs into the computer. And that's the new computer. And when I showed that computer on video, did I publish that? Yeah, I think I showed that on a Saturday. It's a regular AC power cable plugged into the computer. No brick, is what I'm saying. Mike McCrae, I'm 74 years old and still learning. Wonderful, Mike. Assume was explained on The Odd Couple. Oh, really? It really sounds like the receptacle is bad on a computer, bad solder joint. I really do think that's what's going on. She never moved the unit. Yeah, but she had a camera. She had a digital camera plugged into a USB port on the back. And anytime you fuss with those USB ports on the back, since the power cable is right there, it's so easy. The slightest impact on that cable, even away from the computer, would do it. Because I was in her home doing, let's see, I know what it was. She got new flooring in her home, And so everything was disconnected. She asked me to come out and reconnect everything. And I did that. And when I did that, I put these identifiers on all her cables to tell what they were, because sometimes I would call or she'd call me, she got a problem, and I ask her to disconnect or reconnect a cable, and she can't figure out which cable is which. So I put these names on them. And as I was doing that, every time I touched one of the other cables that was incidentally even touching the power cable, it would shut the computer off. Never trust that they've done what they're told to do. Yeah. Hello, Doug, all in chat from St. Mary's County, Maryland. That's from Greg. Does the power adapter light up without plugging to the PC? Yes, it does, man, but it's not lighting up the way that it should. And it's inconsistent. Ask your client if she has the old one. Yes, I'm going to do that. That's what I think is my next step on this computer. I don't think I'm going to do much more with it during this live stream. Greg got up at 11:45 today. Oh, that's chit chat. Watching 59K showing of Rocky. UK and US is different power. Oh, that's maybe it was Mike that was asking how many connectors the power cable has. MacBook owners live to spill liquids into them.
Yes, they do. They do.
Yeah. I keep people like Louis Rossman in business. Aliaz, I think PSU is failing stage. I see this a lot of DSL modems. Modem turn on but don't connect to DSL service. So when he's saying PSU, in this case, referring to the power brick. In Australia, MacBooks are trained to jump into kangaroo pouches. I agree. Failing power supplies seem to exhibit all the same problems on the failure curve. Modem turns on, don't connect to DSL. Unloaded a bad power supply can show as good if you go by just output voltage with 19.6, around 2.3 amps common rating. Yeah, you need to put a load on it to really determine that. But because that LED light on the power brick is not behaving properly, even when we're not connected to the computer, that makes me think this power brick is a problem, and that it's probably the original power brick. But I'm thinking both are at fault. Sounds like a bad connection in the PC, broken loose connection on the motherboard. All right, caught up there.
Hey, Doug.
Yes.
Gary.
Hi, Gary.
A couple of quickie comments on the last two things you made. I have a power supply. Well, I don't personally use it. It's a Lenovo, and the lights on when it's plugged into the wall. It has nothing to do with it's plugged into the laptop.
Agreed. And that's the way this one's behaving.
So that could be no problem then. It could be. Number two, you said something about the new flooring, because this actually happened to us in the bedroom. Did they put the right connector into the right computer? You may have it, because if that, I bet you that computer that brick does not say what computer it goes to on the actual brick itself.
No, it doesn't, but that's the only computer in the room.
There was no laptops back there or anything? Okay, that's fine.
No. I do know this is correct. And this symptom that I've been describing was present before they changed the flooring.
Yeah, okay. Well, then you're good.
So, reasonable questions, though. Yeah.
Many years ago, I met an auditor when they wanted me to the library. Why the heck? We swapped power bricks. Neither of us were powered.
Yeah, I have had that happen when clients move computers around and then don't reconnect things correctly. And one of the most hysterical things is, I changed my mind on which hysterical thing I was going to tell about. Is a client who says their printer's not working. And I asked them to disconnect and reconnect the USB cable from both ends of the USB cable. Well, it takes a little while to talk them through to how to figure out which cable is the USB cable for the printer. So follow the cable from the printer to the computer. That's it. But sometimes that's difficult to do. Cables run behind desks and stuff. So I had this client disconnect and reconnect a couple times both ends of this USB cable, and then I got them on FaceTime with their cell phone and had them put the phone down and show me where the cable goes into the printer. This wasn't the first time that I've experienced this, where they plugged the USB cable into the Ethernet port of the printer. Because they won't get down there and look. I got to get the, I mean, they'll get to a point where they look, and even there's sometimes where you look at an angle and there's a opening that looks like it'll fit for that, that B side of the USB cable. They plug it in there. It's actually an RJ45 jack. But if they get their head down further, they'll see a little bit above that is the USB port. And you've got to get them to get their head down there on the level of the printer. And that's difficult to get clients to do that.
I literally had one happen that on a compact laptop on a farm in Kentucky. USB into Ethernet. Either one of them worked after they made it work. No, they got it in there anyway.
Yeah.
I bent those 8 pins all back. And if you push hard enough, you
I have it fairly frequently that I'm asking clients to disconnect and reconnect cables for one reason or another, and they'll tell me, I asked them, did you disconnect the Ethernet cable and then plug it back in? They said, yes, I pushed it in. That's not what I asked. Unplug it and put it back in. There's a clip that you have to depress in order to get it to come out. And when I finally get them to do it, actually remove the cable and put it back in fixes the network connection. Pushing it in is not sufficient. You've got to unplug it, plug it back in. If doing that from one end of the cable doesn't solve the problem, then do it on the other end of the cable. I had that just a couple of days ago. In this office, I know the particular desk. This has a funky, one of those square jacks that would be attached to a wall, where for some reason they couldn't run an Ethernet cable down the wall, and this about 2-inch square jack is become disconnected from the wall, and I think it was actually on a couple feet of cable. So they disconnect from that and replug it back in, and it solved the problem. And that computer has had that problem before. And we really ought to replace that port. And I don't like doing wall jacks or running cable, but there have been a few times, I do have the equipment, there's been a few times where I go ahead and do it because the effort that it takes to get the client to call a cabling company or for me to call on their behalf and get them to come out to do one little repair job is sometimes just more effort than it's worth. So I just wind up doing it myself, and I replace that or fix jacks in a few different scenarios. Catching up. Hello, Josh. He says he just got up. Seen a lot of power supplies that look fine, feel under load. That's why I test actual voltage at the plug. And yeah, I think what Jim and I are saying is that the voltage alone, it might show okay, but once you put it under load, maybe not so much. And typically, if I suspect a power supply, I'll just buy the replacement. And that goes back, sometimes those power supplies, those power bricks, they're not inexpensive if you're buying a good quality brick. There's cheap ones that I don't put a lot of faith in. But this goes back to what I was describing about my clients. I try to attract and retain clients that they have businesses that are generating strong income, and they can afford to pay the price that it takes to do good repairs. And so that's the direction I go. Let's see. BH Ringer, it's about time to Josh. Load it up, see if it remains stable. So that's what Rob is going on to say there. What's going on? Channel here is, I'm not sure what that is about. It takes less than 0.5 ounce of pressure to pull trace off a PC board. So if plug was flexed, it could pull solder joint loose and cause intermittent power. They connect USB to LAN port. Yeah, I just made his day. Thanks for that info. Favorite was a customer had a phone plug RJ11 plugged into an Ethernet plug perfectly centered. Yeah, I've seen that too. I've had problems getting that thought through with some people. Can be hair-raising situation explaining things over the phone. And that's why I really, I lean heavily on using cell phone cameras and connecting remotely to computers. I just don't trust what people say to me. And when they say something like that conversation I quoted where they say, I say, did you unplug it and plug it back in? They say, yes, I pushed it in. No, that's not a yes. You didn't unplug it. I want them to confirm that they pulled it out and plugged it back in. It makes a difference. I've seen that so many times be the solution. Is there still a thing as RJ11? Well, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, older style phones, but the digital phones are typically more commonly RJ45. But particularly the handset, the cable that plugs from a handset to the phone body will be RJ11. So they can get those ports confused. And I've also seen digital phones using RJ11s. FaceTime service calls are a good thing and it works, saves gas. Yes. And Gary, you're in with your other name, G Wisen, right? You have 2 different usernames on YouTube, right, Gary? Is that right, Gary?
Many.
Many. All right. All right. And saying that.
I do not like my true identity. It's too easy.
Oh, okay.
I'm too opinionated in real life.
So you do a little bit of cloak and dagger.
Yeah. No, I just might say those girls at the wrong time. They were all talking about the new guy on TV. No, can't do. No,
They're all talking about the new guy on TV. You lost me.
In other words, if you say that today, that's the reason to get written out. I might say that mistake. I'm too old.
All right.
Those people maybe.
Rob Allen, how about the famous RJ10? I don't even know that one. Oh, how about going back to BNC connectors and RG62?
Oof.
I think was it, and then twisted pair for the old bus style and daisy chain style of not Lantastic, but the other more common one back then. Here I'm testing some people's memories.
BNC connectors?
Well, BNC was coax, but I'm referring to before that the twisted pair with RJ11 jacks for networking. ArcNet. Is that the right word?
A little before my time.
Yeah, it was
token ring, I think.
Yeah, there were Token Ring. Token Ring was one of them, and ArcNet, and there was a bus topology and a star topology. Bus topology is where the network cable would go from one computer to another computer to another computer, and the network adapter in the computers had 2 RJ11 ports. So one of the ports would, the ports would go to other computers, and it was a bus style typology. So if any computer or any cable in that whole bus topology had a problem, the whole network was down. But star topology is kind of similar to what we use these days, where A signal goes to a hub and then branches out to computers, or it could go to another hub and branch out to computers, and it was called a star topology.
Problem, I mean, you're correct, but the problem back then is we used those connectors and just put them on 8 different cables coming out of a little balloon or something. I know a lot of different connectors a lot of connectors were used with a lot of different topologies because some companies got lazy and they said, well, this would work great in the back of, our card that they made themselves.
Yeah.
So you look at the connector, you say, oh, this must be an RJ11 or RJ45. Straight through, twisted. It's like theoretically, I used to, when I was way when Ethernet just first came out, you could actually use 2 connectors at the end of the run a cable and do 2 computers. And so computers only use 8 pins.
Well, actually 4 pins.
I said 4. You're right. That's how you do 2.
Yeah. So with 100 base T, I mean, we can do that today. You could take a 4 pair Ethernet cable. It's got
split them.
4 sets of 2, so a total of 8 connectors. And you could split those, put 2 pair on each of the RJ45 connectors.
Right.
But it's only going to run at 100 megabits per second. You can't get gigabit speeds with that, and you can't get power over Ethernet with that. And I think I have some clients offices out there now that actually have just 2 pair connections.
I know
wiring.
My wife was selling this. We had a business doing that a long time ago, and a lot of the smaller companies argued to run cable all over their warehouses. Cat 3. Now they all want giganet. And guess what? Or gigabit. Guess what? We got to run cable. Save no money.
Yeah.
And nobody knew how to run
that's
cable
right.
back then. You had electricians running cable. And electricians have no way to, they don't have a clue. They don't have experience with that cable.
Right. I remember we had phone wiring people putting in computer cabling, and they didn't really understand it very well and would sometimes do things wrong. All right. Say again?
Our guys always did them wrong.
Oh, yeah. Let's see, RG 50 LMR 400, RG 4958. I think I recognize 58. I remember RG 62. I don't think I ever interacted with RG 50, and I don't have a clue what LMR 400 is. PSTN phones are RJ11, VoIP phones RJ45. Yes, that is generally to the case. It seems to me, you know what? No, I think I've come across some, internal phone systems. They're not VoIP, but they use RJ11. I don't know. It seems there that I've seen some mix. You know what? I think I've seen RJ11 jacks RJ11 plugs connected to RJ45 jacks on phones. In the case where the phone didn't actually need the extra connectors. I think sometimes phones that don't have the extra accessory panel on the side don't need the RJ45 connectors, and some phone implementations have cut corners that way, I think. Jeff, I remember running twisted pair where I worked. We could do it ourselves because the union was on strike. Okay. DSL modems, RJ11 port 2. Oh, yeah, that's right. I think even, when cable modems have a port for phone, I think there might still be RJ11 jacks. RJ10 used for smaller connector between headsets and the base for cheaper phones on hospital scales. All right. I think we're getting, we're probably going to be maybe winding down this live stream unless there's other topics for us to take up, because my topics are done. I guess I could, all right. I'll pull out the voltmeter. How about 56K dial-up modems and BBS? Oh yeah, I did that. I did bulletin board services, calling into them back in the days of, you know, all you could do is AOL and CompuServe. It wasn't really thought of as the internet. And we had a local computer users group that had a BBS. And so you're actually calling into a computer that's probably in somebody's home. And it answers the call, and you could upload and download files, and it only had the capability of perhaps 1 or 2 people to be connected at a time. Quadwire Northern Telecom QBB1A connector block. It's probably in relation to those other connector styles. What a long road we've been down. Yes, indeed. I can have up to 4 lines on RJ11. I somehow have a problem. I'll pronounce RG as RJ and vice versa. RJ11 on office phones. ISDN. I had an ISDN line in my home office in 1995 because I know that because it was Windows 95 coming out. I already had an ISDN line in my home. That was kind of an expensive, really unusual thing to have. Remember the AOL home unit screen built-in keyboard online service? No, I never came across an AOL home unit. You're saying that not a computer? It was a AOL piece of hardware?
It was,
Yeah.
well, it was a slow Chromebook. I mean, what was a Chromebook? That concept.
Okay.
Just doing it all.
Little different operating system of its own. Not
Almost like one of the kids, like the Frogger thing to give for kids. You can only do their
oh,
stuff.
okay. Like a terminal green screen. Yeah,
Right.
okay. That makes sense. All right, so let me go see what I can do about a voltmeter. I think it's up here.
Hi, Jim. Hi, Joey. Hi, Doug.
Hello,
Hello,
everybody.
Josh. Yeah, that's right. You came in a little while ago, and I hadn't said hello yet. The voltmeter's not in there. Another box here under my desk that might have it. If it's not there, then it's upstairs.
Ugh.
Nope. Do I dare go upstairs?
How's everybody?
Everybody's here.
Good, Josh. How are you?
I'm here. Just waking up.
Dr. Rob Allen says, thanks for having me, guys, back to the Ubiquity races. I guess that means he's gone back to something he's working on. I'm going to bring Zoom up on screen. I don't know if you're going to carry the ball while I'm away. I'm going to be away from the microphone, but I still have my headset on. So I know what you're saying.
Talk bad about him.
Yeah,
can't talk bad about him.
I'll know it. I don't think this will take long.
Is Alex going up to Kentucky today?
What's that, dude?
Is Alex going to Kentucky today? That what's it called? I don't want to be funny, but I think it's the. I'm kind of drawing a blank. The 40-day rain or something biblical thing, where they had the ark.
I don't know.
Something.
He didn't say anything to me about going to Kentucky.
Yeah, there's some. I'm not trying to be funny. Some boat, this religious deal he's got there that his parents and his church are sponsoring.
Well, then I really wouldn't know anything about it.
He's been talking about it the last few times I've seen him on Ken's show.
Sorry, I tune that kind of stuff out.
Joke is, I was telling my wife about him talking about it. It's like about 8 miles from our farm. Matter of fact, the road they say you can use, they say you can't use it because it's private property. It's my property. And it's fences they can't get past. And they can get shot, but that's another discussion. So we have protesters. But yeah, they got a big, they made, I guess it's an arc, I said it incorrectly, but they made a big arc with the two animals and biblical type history. I should not be advertising that. But I guess they got like 4 million people there last year during COVID.
Why does
right.
that not surprise me?
Well, you know, I mean, no political according to the people there. You can't, don't worry about it.
Okay, so here's what I've got. This is the older voltmeter, and I think sometime back I bought another one, and I probably haven't even, I don't know if I've ever used this one because I just don't have that much occasion to use them. And I also went to another room and brought a box of batteries in case I need those. I think these the tester cables were flaky. So let's just go straight to the new one.
Still use a
Oh.
Simpson bone.
Say again?
I still use a Simpson bone. Heck with the digital. Digital's for those young people.
Tell me it's
Oh.
a Simpson 260.
Yep.
How did I know?
Digital, that's for the kids. I'm too old for digital.
Oh, please.
Okay,
Oh,
LED,
yeah.
not LCD.
These look more substantial to me.
Watch what happens when you pull them off. Some of them are real small.
Now these are.
You have off on Monday, Doug?
Do I what?
You have off on Monday?
Off on Monday?
If nobody calls.
I might do work on Monday. I might not. I don't really have a boss
The
except
4th
for
of
me.
July.
I understand.
You do what you do.
No, well, I don't get holiday pay. Let's put it that way. I don't get vacation pay. I don't have any activities planned for the day. So it's pretty much for me just another day. I might wind up playing more Fortnite on Monday than I would normally play. I am
sound like
enjoying the
you-
game.
You sound like you're getting addicted to the game.
A little bit. I'm not addicted. I can walk away from it. So, but here's the two. This is the new ones, and these are the old ones, and these just feel more substantial to me. However, this is the new one, and this is the old one. Somehow, this one feels more substantial to me.
Open them up.
I think I think I intentionally chose a higher price voltmeter because it's not the first occasion that I've had voltmeters just be flaky. This wow, this has some other stuff in here. They gave me a set of screwdrivers. There's a Phillips screwdriver in my right hand and a flat-bladed screwdriver in my left hand.
They're toothpicks.
These things are so tiny. Is that to disassemble this thing, maybe?
Change batteries, maybe?
Okay, it's got a battery panel here, and it's got one of these pull tabs, implying that there are batteries in it already, and I should be able to just pull this to activate the batteries. So I'm going to switch to ohms. And then this end has a protector on it as well.
No, it doesn't. That goes in the bomb itself.
You think that goes into the... Oh, wait a minute. How about this?
No.
This has got to be
Try
something that... Oh, here it is. There.
Okay. Didn't see the end.
So there's the pin. You can see this was a cover. So there's 3 ports on a voltmeter to connect to. So you're only going to connect to 2 of them depending upon the functions that you're intending to use. This one over here is labeled VQMA. I think that what I'm calling a Q is a symbol actually. So that would be for amps, and over here says 10 ADC, and then this one in the middle says 600 V max COM. So I'm going to say that the COM is meaning common for black. Like I say, this is I don't do much with voltmeters, so then the red's going to go into the 10 ADC. So ADC, I'm going to say, is an abbreviation that's referring to AC or DC. So this would be the positive terminal for when I'm going to be measuring AC voltage or DC voltage. And they abbreviate that by 10 ADC. And if I was trying to measure amps, I'd be using this one. Go ahead and finish your Jim, because I'm a little bit below.
I'm trying to see it, and it's a little difficult for me to see, obviously. What's the other jack?
The jack on
10
the
amp.
left. The jack on the left is 10 ADC. The middle jack is 600 V max COM. And the rightmost jack is VQMA. I don't think that's really Q. So I'm going to bring it to the keyboard camera and try to give you a better view of it.
It's probably a type 3 bomb then.
A what?
Type 3.
Type
600
3.
volt.
Okay,
I'm getting seasick.
Yeah, I just shouldn't be manipulating this while it was live. I'm trying
A question for the brick, Doug. Has that been like laying on the ground at all, its whole thing, or is it laying up on the table or desk, I should say?
All right. I need some light shined on that thing. It's a little dark.
Yeah, working on that. Gary, has what been laying on the table?
The
The
cable
voltmeter?
and the bricks. So in other words, is it protected, or everybody walk behind it or over it on the carpet?
Oh, it was on a desk in my client's home office behind the computer.
Because right now,
Okay.
I always use laptops, and my cable's got about 4 inches on the table.
Yeah,
And the rest
Doug,
of
did that 10 ADC?
Yeah.
That's for measuring up to 10 amps in direct current. You want the other one.
All right. I'm going to give you a little better on this. I'm going to do a focus.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You want the one on the right, not the one on the left.
Oh, okay. Oh, all right. The one on the right because of the V for voltage.
Correct.
Okay. So the 10 ADC is,
It's
and
for
also
measuring DC current up to 10 amps.
10 amps DC. Okay. So I was wrong in my interpretation of saying that the ADC is AC or DC. So, and underneath that port, it says 10 amp max unfused. Underneath the rightmost port, it says 600 volts AC/DC.
Correct.
So that makes sense that is the positive port for measuring voltage. And the middle one is the common port for the black.
Correct.
And if I had done the RTFM, Catherine's not with us today, right? I would have caught that. And I told you all along, or was implying, my confidence level was not 100% with those ports.
Catherine, I apologize. This is
Catherine.
All
Okay.
right. Now I'm happy.
All right. Good. And I'm like you're calling me on that. And then to just take one more step of, oh, by the way, so I have the selector on 200 ohms. So when I touch the leads together, the display should zero out because there's no resistance. Okay. Now, I guess what I'm doing here is taking a little extra demonstration of a voltmeter for those who might watch the video and don't know this stuff. Now I've got the selector pointed to the 1.5 volt battery position.
What are you going to measure 1.5 volt?
A battery.
Oh, you run battery.
Yeah, just to demonstrate. Yeah, you were worried that I was going to plug that
Yeah,
into
no,
the power brick.
I don't think it's 1.5.
Don't want to do that.
Either 12 or 19.
Now, there was an incident back in my past where I blew up a voltmeter because I had it on the wrong setting when I went to measure something. I knew better. I just didn't look at the setting. All right. So then, I got to put that back on camera.
You got checks behind it.
Oh, thank you. Okay, so putting the black lead on the negative side of the battery and touch to the positive side. What?
It's a 35 volt.
Okay, that's interesting. Battery 1.5 volts. Now, if I was using a analog meter that has a needle, it might be deflecting to an area on the graph that as just shows green for the battery and the numbers are irrelevant. But why?
You know, let's go over to voltage to see what it's reading, because that's weird. Oh, is that a new battery used?
Yeah, well, it's slightly used.
That might be percentage of battery, not voltage.
Oh,
Yeah, I would move it to the 2 volt scale on the left.
Just for the heck of it.
okay.
Of course, from China, you don't know what they put inside the battery, but I bet it's not 35 volts.
Yeah, so there's 1.58. That makes sense. So that's
Reasonable.
typically a new battery is going to read a bit above 1.5. So, but what is going on that? I guess that comes to another RTFM recommendation, which for those who don't know, that stands for read the full manual.
Well, we'll argue on the F1.
Did you get a wire stripper?
That's
Doug?
strange. Say again?
Did you get a little yellow wire stripper?
Oh, did I get a yellow wire stripper with in the kit? Yes, I did. Here it is.
Yeah, nice black roll of tape.
Yeah.
The multimeter is capable of measuring battery quality by measuring the amount of current it can provide, not the voltage.
So is that showing current for the battery? Current potential?
Yeah, yes. I just read
Well,
the manual.
Okay, right here, MA, and then it looks like it's showing a diode symbol. No, not diode. What is that symbol? So MA would be microamps?
Milliamps usually.
Milliamps. All right. Yeah, I think that must be what it's doing. It's reading the milliamp potential of the battery. So the battery, I have no idea what level of amperage these would provide. So look at
Believe me, if you short that battery, it'll provide more than 35 milliamps.
Well,
Not for very long, but
When I got home just a little while ago, I had a test eat of little Bob Evans mashed potato bowl. It said pull the corner up a quarter, quarter of the cellophane. Problem is it's a round cup. It's too much physics in for a bowl of mashed potatoes.
Well, I just saw something that I haven't seen before on these batteries. I have seen the expiration dates before, but I hadn't noticed this one on the top of the chrome color, the top of the bronze color, right up near the positive terminal. It has it has an embossed date. It looks like it's November 2021, and then below that it says November 2028, which I'm going to take those to be a manufacturing date and an expiration date.
Sounds reasonable to me.
I've seen expiration dates before that were very readable along this, black lettering area, but I had not seen a manufacturing date before on batteries. Yeah, all right.
Something to set it apart from somebody else, probably.
Yeah. Now, I have had occasion where I have ordered major brand batteries through Amazon, and they came in with less than 2 years expiration. And they were cheap. They were inexpensive. So I try to stay away from batteries that are suspiciously cheap, because I think they're going to be short expiration. All right, now to get to the subject at hand, measuring that power brick output. Checking to see if it's what? Oh. Careful turning the chair, Doug. Checking to see if it's still plugged in. The AC, it is.
What is it supposed to put out, do you know?
Yeah, it's on a label, typically on a label. So
Probably 19 and a half, something like that.
yeah, let's see if I can get a good view
Because
on that.
What's essentially in these things are laptop motherboards.
No,
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see. I don't think I can point to that with my
Yeah,
mouse.
19.5. Second line.
Second line output 19.5.
Right. I'm trying to point
looks
to it
like
with my
that.
mouse, and that's not going to come over. So yeah, on the left-hand side, just to describe to the people who aren't following where we're at, the left-hand side of that label, under the letters HP, it says input, and below that says output. And that's not very readable.
9 1/4 amps worth of current that thing's supposed to put out. Interesting. That's a lot of current.
Yeah, it's a big monitor and probably a dedicated graphics adapter. So it's likely to need more power than a typical laptop, and the power brick is correspondingly bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there we got a better focus on it. So on that input line is telling us 100 to 240 volts. And then the second line for output says 19.5 volts and 9.23 amps.
Alienware 20. Oh,
Oh, here's an interesting thing. I installed for a client a Dell microcomputer mounted onto the back of a monitor using 2 monitors. This is the CPA office, the one that I fired. bought it through Amazon. And as I was working with it, when I took it to his office, I did the initial setup here at my desk, took it to his office, and it just felt sluggish. Why does this thing feel so sluggish? And when I went into system properties, I found that the gigahertz speed was much lower than it was supposed to be. And I eventually tracked it to the power brick. The power brick that they had supplied was a lower amperage output than what it was supposed to be. So I ordered a replacement power brick and it sped right up. That was surprising. But it kind of makes sense. If you underpower a CPU, it's going to run slower. All right, so getting back to this.
Why do you think they did that, though?
I think it's because the seller, understand when you buy from Amazon, you're buying from, most of the time from a third-party seller. This was probably a refurbished computer. So the people selling it there, they bought a power brick from somewhere else that they didn't have the original power brick for that computer, and they didn't know any better. Oh, and here's another thing. That particular model of microcomputer had a few different CPU options. The CPU that computer had was a higher level CPU than the standard for that model. So that power brick, when I went and checked the manual for that computer, I found that it had two different power bricks, and you were supposed to use the higher powered power brick if you had the higher capability CPU, which this computer had. So the power brick that they provided was correct for that model computer, but not with that CPU. So that was a first-time experience. Okay.
Or then again, if somebody traded that and sent it back with the old one, that would never happen.
Yeah, I kind of don't think that's what happened in this case. So, who's gonna select my voltage setting
I
here?
would think the 20 volt scale would be more than sufficient.
Yep, and I think it's the obvious correct choice because 200 scale is just not going to be as accurate, I would say. Since it's a digital multimeter, you would think that it should be giving us the same number on the 20 volt setting or the 200 volt setting. And obviously the 2 volt setting on the upper left of that scale would not be right. So I got it pointed to the 20 volt setting. And then here's the connector. So is the pin positive or is the pin negative?
They're generally pin positive, but it's not going to matter to the meter. The meter will just read it negative.
Yeah. I think I have seen occasion where the pin was negative. But I can't say what that occasion was, and I don't do this often enough to be certain. So there we got 19.7.
Which I would expect being unloaded.
Yeah.
See if you can move the pin inside, not hard, but just see if it just loose. There. Oh, you're on it. Never mind.
Yeah, it feels solid.
Okay. It's contrary to popular belief, those are not meant to be pulled in and out forever. Even though it's, whatever it is.
Well, unless you're moving the thing, there's no reason to be pulling it in and out in the first place.
No, but I'm sure they're using the same power brick they use on probably some other laptop somewhere down the line.
Well, that wouldn't surprise me at all.
Now, there's a possibility that I might have a compatible power brick upstairs. I do have a box of power bricks that I've collected.
I've seen people who say how much they work from home to carry the computer at home 300 days a year, and they never log on once. So, but that means they've unplugged that thing, 700 times for nothing, 600 times for nothing.
So in order to try another power brick, I need to have one that has the right voltage, amperage rating, and the right connector. Let's see, we're still under 2 hours. Okay, I'll go look. You guys are on your own again. Oh, wait a minute. I'm sorry. I haven't checked in with chat for a long time. I'm going to do that first. Get to the right screen. Scroll up to my last highlighted section. Here it is. Let's see, Dr. Rob Allen, Ubiquity Wireless Devices Programming Remotely. Been there, done that. Continue listening on phone for Dr. Rob. Read the voltage for both DC and AC should vary little AC voltage if the capacitors in the supply are good. I have 0 to 36 volts variable output rated at 30 amps max. Used to test the computer.
He turns on drugs, I think. To
I'm
make
not-
you feel better.
Okay, I'm not sure I followed that quite. Dennis,
Yes.
Fortnite dailies are daily, including holidays. He's making comment about our Fortnite streaming. We stream Fortnite 7 days a week. Saturdays in the afternoons, and the rest of the days are all mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific time. Om on the range. Okay, I got that.
That was my
VO
comment.
Oh, it was. Oh,
Yeah, BH.
all right.
No.
Oh, all right.
Health
VOA.
problems.
VOA for the red lead, the 10 amp ports for measuring amps. Okay, so he was on that page as well. It might be reading milliamps of the battery. That must be battery testing setting. Try the 2 volt side on the other side. 19.5 Dell power management. I'm not sure what you're inferring there. Dell when the computer's turned on, Dell power management could be an issue, but I don't think here. Yeah, BH Ringer is asking what happened to my balls, and he clarifies the one that I sat on. I have 2 of these large exercise balls, and they're in the other room. I just
Sounds like a medical problem to me.
Say again?
Sounds like a medical problem to me.
Yeah, personal issue. Dell cutting corners. Those HP bricks are temperamental. My laptop brick only works if on the floor. Okay. Pin is positive. Check for AC voltage at the jack. Without the AC adapter plugged in, I can't check for voltage at the jack without
I think it means at the wall.
at the
Make sure
wall.
yeah.
Oh. Well, we've got DC voltage. If we didn't have DC voltage, we could check for AC at the jack, but I don't see a reason to do that. I'm plugged into a power bar that's mounted on the back of my desk that I have other things plugged into. Lance, for a pin is the ID chip. The inside shield is the voltage supply. Pin is the ID chip. The inside shield is the voltage supply. Is he saying the pin is actually a third conductor and that the positive voltage is actually on the surface of the inside of the barrel? Is that what he's saying? It feels pretty clear to me that I have to touch the pin in order to get a voltage reading. I don't think I'm getting... Yes, Josh?
I've been in the chat room from time to time over on your other channel. I don't know if you've noticed that or not.
Yeah, I think I've said hi to you when I've seen you post a comment.
That pops up from time to time.
Yeah, thank you. William, sorry, I mean at the power supply plug that plugs in the computer. That's what I was measuring. Yeah, that's what I was measuring, William. I'm not sure what you thought I was looking at. Look at the back of the brick. Anybody know what that means?
No idea.
I think the 9 point, it wants to line in 19.5 already. I'm assuming.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think we understand that. Arnold, check the label of the power brick. We gives info on the connector. We did info on the connectors. He's saying that it tells what the function of the pin is. That's a new one on me.
Well,
Although,
it's conceivable there's a sense pin somewhere on that jack.
yeah, I'm thinking that. Oh, and maybe the Dell power management. So maybe it does do ID information through the pin, but the pin is a data. It has a data function to it. And I think I have seen schematics on these labels of the pin. And so that's what I'm going to look for now. Let's get that. Sorry if that's making anyone seasick. I'm going to refocus.
Right in the middle of the label.
All right. I'm not
To the
looking
left,
at it
it's
yet because I'm working on the focus. And then I want to figure out some way to point to things. All right, I'll use one of these probes. Yeah, right here. There's a schematic. And it does look like it's identifying 3 pieces of information. I'm going to move it even closer. All right, I'm going to take that off camera while I'm futzing with this, because I'm getting interested in this. Now, let's see how that's doing. That's pretty good, but I think I can get better. These webcams are amazing with how close they can focus. Now, I'll focus
Too
that.
close.
You focus this.
The light too bright on the right hand side though.
I didn't understand that, Josh. Try again.
I said the light too bright on the right hand side.
Do you mean the left-hand side?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Let me. There.
Yeah.
Well, we don't care about the left-hand side at this point anyway. We're interested in the dead center, right in this area here, where it says VBAT, rating and ID, and ground. So that's showing the outer surface to be ground, and it looks like the inner surface of the barrel to be VBAT. Voltage battery, but that doesn't make sense. Voltage battery, but that doesn't make sense. All right. Battery, but that doesn't make sense.
Gary's
Somebody's
managed
got-
to do something.
Yeah, I just muted Gary. Gary, you can unmute yourself when you got that fixed. But it is implying that that pin is for rating and ID. That's interesting. All right, so I'm going to test that. Is there anything else we want to see here before I reset the camera again? You're seeing clearly the up a little bit higher than 9.23 amps right there. And I'm going to try adjusting a little bit. Oh, that's interesting. I turned the light off. There's no light. Oh, there. If I shade, I'm shading it from the studio lights. Now you can read all that pretty good. Okay, so let's readjust. Take off that camera, and then
Uh-oh.
hey, let's see how this works. That's all too close. That's just too close for me to be working.
I don't think I would be able to do what you're doing, Doug, because my hand choked too bad.
Funny you should mention that. My left arm was shaking before today's broadcast. I was outside doing some yard work and holding a chainsaw up in the air. When I came in, when I just do something as simple as holding a bottle of water in my left hand, my left arm started shaking. Thought that was weird. The voltmeter is set to 20, although you can't see the selector very well in that exposure. Now I'm holding the positive probe against the inside of the barrel and not touching the pin, and then touch the negative, and sure enough, I have voltage without touching the pin. Here, I think you can tell that there's plenty of room in there for me to be making contact with the inside of the barrel. All right, I did not know that. Interesting. Diagram telling you the connectors. Yes, it does. Yes, it does. Some Dell HP laptops don't work with aftermarket power bricks due to no ID sense pin. Interesting. William, are you saying the power plug is like Apple computer power connector that uses a control circuit in the power supply? I suppose so. Maybe. Schematic is readable. I see what you mean. The power supply senses the load via a feedback loop on the center pin. Yeah, so that's an extra level of issues that could be going on with the jack in the computer or the pin. I was contemplating going upstairs to get something else. Oh, a different power brick. If I have a compatible power brick, it would be an HP. And I have some other HP all-in-ones upstairs, so that might be the case. Let's I'm going to make a note of that. Let's see, it's a 19 point what? 5 volts. And the amps?
9, I think.
9.23,
Yeah, 9.23.
but you might not need quite that much, at least just to get it on initially.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And that other story I was telling about the other power brick for the microcomputer, it was the power brick we had was too low on amps. The voltage was correct. All right, I'm going to go upstairs and take a quick look for that, and then I think we're going to be winding down this session. I'll put Zoom back on screen. Matthew, you could come back and entertain everybody if you.
Someone say something.
Something.
Thank you.
Well, you asked.
I wanted to test my audio to make sure it wasn't too loud.
I can't hear you. What did you say? So no, you can't test it.
I didn't want to get blasted out of the room.
Okay. So now you can't test your audio. You won't get blasted out of Zoom.
Yeah.
All right, you ready?
Come in.
Okay. What's the address to the church, Josh, and then what time is church over?
Do you want to test your audio, Jim?
No.
I'm reading your shirt, so you're testing your video.
Oh, okay.
Do people outside, I mean, like at the mall, ever comment on your church, grocery store, Target?
Every once in a while, yeah.
People will take great liberties at stores nowadays.
I'm not sure I follow that.
That wasn't actually trying to be, witty. I've been in stores and had people say things about whatever. Get out of the way, Karen. There are certain places around here that, they see, I have an old 78 truck that drives sometimes custom, 20,000 miles, 20,000 actually. And people say it's a gas hub. It's like, yeah, that's why I don't drive it, but 2 miles a week.
There you go.
It's a hobby. How much you just put up your solar panels underneath that tree cost you?
Well, it's funny you should mention that. Where was I? This is a couple of years ago, at least. I don't remember whether I was in Lowe's or Home Depot because we have both here. Somebody was trying to hawk solar panels, and I laughed at him.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Why are you laughing?" I said, "If you saw my property, you would not be trying to sell me solar panels."
Can't see the roof of the house.
And then I pulled up the house on Google Maps.
Yeah.
He took one look at the lot and he said, "Yeah, you're right."
Invisible property.
Most of the, well, let's put it this way. In my backyard alone, there are at least 15 trees. That's just the backyard. That's not counting the side yard and what's in the front.
Yep.
So it's like, no, in order for me to put, let's just spitball a number. In order for me to put up $15,000 worth of solar panels, I'd have to take down $10,000 worth of trees.
Yep. Oh yeah.
So
If you did it yourself,
that's not going to happen.
if you did it yourself, taking down a tree is not cheap around here.
With most of mine, it is a problem. Most of them are 70 feet or more.
Exactly. Seriously.
So,
Last year
yeah.
we had a storm and they knocked 3 trees down. It was like $5,000 to get it fixed. Because they didn't knock them down, they knocked them like.
All right, Doug's back. We got to stop talking about him.
Yeah.
It looks like he's
So here's the closest I got. It's not a good substitution, but the plug does fit. I plugged it into the back of the computer without it being plugged into electrical, but it's way low on amperage. But
How's way low?
yeah, I'm going to tell you in a moment. You see here the physical size difference between these two. That's substantially small, and it's 19.5 volts and 4.62 amps.
Yeah.
So it's just
you'd be
what's the
stretching it a bit,
point?
yeah.
That'd be
You might
stretching
get
it.
it. You might get it to the post. Does it have a CD? The player or the?
The computer does not have a CD drive, but if it even shows a stable connection to power, that would imply that the problem is the brick, the wire on the brick. If
Right.
this exhibits the same behavior of not being able to give a consistent power delivery, then that kind of points to the jack on the computer. So that sounds to me like it could provide that level of usefulness,
Right.
useful information. All right, so I'll try that. And it's a 2-prong electrical plug without a ground connector, and it's not even polarized.
No, that's not gonna matter anyway in this
I don't think
case.
so. I don't think so for our purposes here. So, and this power brick does have an LED, and it is lit solid. That much right there, the behavior of the big power brick, that light should be solid even without being connected to the computer, and it's not.
That's correct. It should.
All right, so I'm plugging into the computer, and the light on the power brick is still solid.
That's a good sign.
Yeah. I'm giving it a minute before I press the power button on the computer. All right, here we go, power button on the computer.
I think I see a light on the front. Or am I just looking at something weird?
Find out for the rest of us. Should come to the forefront.
Nah, it must be the light bouncing off of something else.
Yeah, I don't see any light.
Okay.
It's entirely conceivable that the computer won't even try to power on because of that data pin that tells it this is not the right power brick.
Right.
So I don't think that really tells me anything.
Though using the same logic, it might power on slow, undervolted. Of course, that is for the CPU.
Yeah, so I'm thinking the computer might be recognizing that it's not adequate power. And it just it was called an ID pin somewhere along the line. And that might be sufficient to prevent the computer from turning on. So
But
I think that's
is the light on the brick still on?
yeah, until I unplugged it. I have already unplugged the brick. The light stayed on even after trying to turn the computer on. So that's done deal. Time to walk away from that. I'll catch up. Go ahead.
Last question. I'm going to go. But does anybody know if England has the 4th of July?
Yeah, they do. I'm not sure it's a holiday, but they do have a July 4th.
Yeah, joke. Bye, guys.
All right, that's what you intended, wasn't it?
You got it.
Of course.
Yeah. All right.
Because it's gas.
Oh, Chris Garrett, hello. Chris Garrett came in. I turned off Josh's video because he has back turned to us on his bed, and I didn't like that coming over Zoom. So coming over to catch Chris, did you have anything to bring? Because we're about to shut this down.
I didn't.
Okay. Thanks
Yeah,
for
I just
jumping.
joined.
Thanks for jumping in and saying hello. I'm going to go catch up with chat. When using chainsaw above your head, you may have torn bicipital tendon. Been there, done that. I don't think I did do that. And it wasn't actually above my head. It was just out at arm level. Have you inspected power port on computer? Only from the external. I don't see anything wrong with it. Alia's back. Chit chat between people. Every day is a school day, LOL. William, that's chit chat. Latest Adamant IT. He plugged a 1000 PSU to an HP. The motherboard got fire.
Yeah, he
The
got flames
motherboard
out of it. He got flame out of it.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Was he
it was one of the power MOSFETs that apparently
Yeah.
was shorted with the original power supply was like maybe less than a 200-watt power supply.
Yeah.
And so it would basically say, oh no, I've got to short and shut down. The Antec
Yeah.
1000-watt power supply he used, the Antec said, yeah, no problem, take what you want. And that's when the flame started.
Did he intend to
No,
be
no.
testing that? Okay.
no. He thought it was just a bad power supply in the machine, but he used something way too hefty.
Oh.
And the MOSFET that was shorted already, it literally went up in flames.
Ah.
It was impressive.
That was his 4th of July firecrackers.
Say again, Chris.
That was his 4th of July firecrackers.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So Darren, no holiday. Dennis, LOL on the humor. Darren saw that coming, I think. And Jonathan, me too. All right. Very good. Matthew came back on camera. Thank you, Matthew. Did you have anything else to bring to us before we shut down?
I don't know.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for being here. Those of you in Zoom, I'll ask you to say goodbye. Good night, John Boy.
Good night, Gracie. Good night, Mary Ellen.
What was Lawrence Welk's method of saying good night or goodbye?
I haven't the slightest idea.
I don't recall either. All right. Well, goodbye, everybody. Here comes my email address. I'm clicking over here to end the Zoom session. So this is going to bounce you all out. You can send me an email if you want to bring up some technical topic that I can do on the Windows Daily episodes, or maybe you want me to connect remotely to your computer during a Saturday live stream, whatever it may be, but I don't interact back and forth on the email to provide tech support that way. It's all about creating YouTube content. All right. Adios. Have a great 4th of July weekend for those of you that have the holiday, and see you next time around. Goodbye.